Thank you very much, Tomas, and thank you to the IIHF and the Czech Ice Hockey Federation for the opportunity to be here with you guys today. As Tomas said, we're going to talk about teaching team concepts and systems through small area games. Little brief introduction of who I am. I work for USA Hockey. I've been there 18 years as the Senior Director of Hockey Development. My responsibility is working with recruitment from the little kids up to the under 18 IIHF team. Lucky enough to be a member of the IIHF Development Committee. We have several people from the Development Committee that are here. Aku is our staff liaison, Johan, and several others that are here. I appreciate that opportunity. And also help out as a learn-to-play instructor with the IIHF. Probably one of the most rewarding things that I have the opportunity to do as a volunteer with the IIHF. And then I'm also a local youth hockey coach in my local club. So I've been coaching youth hockey for about 35 years. We're going to talk about small area games today, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a little bit of our current challenge, and I know that there are a lot of countries that are represented here. As I've traveled around, it seems that hockey's hockey. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. We all have our differences, but I think we all have our same, a lot of the same challenges, a lot of commonality between the game. And I like to say kids are kids. Doesn't matter where you are in the world. A 10-year-old's a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old's a 12-year-old. The younger they are, the more similar, more common they are. Now with the new age, the internet and everything, kids are even more alike, I think, than they've ever been. So as coaches, I think we deal with a lot of the same issues and the same challenges. We're going to talk about the benefits of small area games. We're going to talk about the reason for small area games and why they can be so productive in practice. Putting together a plan and having a reason for what you do in practice and training and preparing your players and your team. We're going to talk a little bit about how you can use small area games to increase the competitiveness of your players, to increase their focus and intensity maybe of practice. If you have to pick up the pace a little bit, increase intensity in practice. We're going to talk about how you can teach systems, things such as breakouts and team play, net front, increase scoring, work on defending the front of your net. We'll talk about special teams, power play, penalty kill. We're going to talk about putting practice plans together, and we're going to talk about implementing those and how you can actually do that. Hello. First beer. Danny Esdale, you still owe us a beer from yesterday. Yeah, that's the American in the room. Thank you, Danny. Want to see a show of hands. How many people coach children 12 years old or younger? How many people coach from 12 years old to 18 years old? And how many people coach from 18 to senior? All right, so it's split about one-third, one-third, one-third. So that was one of the things that made me a little bit nervous and uncertain about exactly which direction we should go with this, is the uncertainty of knowing who was in the audience and the experience level and the age group, those types of things. So I tried to reach across a broader spectrum here. But this is kind of what we're up against, at least in North America. We have mostly volunteer youth coaches and a lot of parent coaches at the younger age groups. So this is what we're battling and trying to address. If we could roll the video. Let me see, show of hands, if anybody's ever seen a practice like this. The good thing is it's not a whole lot. So everybody in North America complains we don't have enough ice rinks, we don't have enough ice time for practice. Coaches are getting on pretty well, just chatting in the corner, not really doing any teaching or giving any feedback. You can see one player goes at a time. All this ice time is wasted, okay? So that's what we're up against. That's what we're trying to defeat and overcome. So the challenge for us as coaches is to talk about creating this balance to where we can teach skills, we can teach hockey sense, teach team concepts and systems while still keeping your players engaged and enthusiastic about practice. How many people wish your team wish your team and your players had better hockey sense? Just a couple? Translator, are you doing a very good job? I've never met a coach that thought all 20 players on their team had really good hockey sense. I think it's one of the things that we get most frustrated about with our players. Why do kids sign up to play hockey? I think they sign up to play and have fun. Lou Vero once told me, it was about 1999, 98. He said, Kevin, you have to remember, there's not one kid that signed up to practice hockey. So your job as a coach is to make sure that they have fun when they come to the rink. If they're not going to have fun, you're not going to get the work out of them. They're not going to be focused. They're not going to work hard to get better. So he challenged me, and that stuck with me ever since Lou recommended that. So what are the characteristics of elite players? At our national camps, we ask our coaches, so put a couple of bullet points down as to what separates those elite players on your team compared to the other players on your team. This is the national camp, so theoretically every player should be a pretty decent player, right? It came back, strong consensus that hockey sense, understanding the mental aspects of the game, the effort and decision making, ability to execute and make the right decision separates that great player from just a real good player with good skills. So how can we accomplish this? Well, one of the things we've been doing is focusing on small area games for the last several years. So what are the benefits of it? Players compete. Small area games, you take away time and space, and they're going to compete. There's going to be more traffic, less space. We can also cover all 4 game situation roles, okay, and get specific game experience. So you have the offense with the puck, offense without the puck, defense on the puck, and defense away from the puck. You can create all 4 of those roles in your small area games. Other benefits is real game-like situations. It's more active, more fun. That equals better development. You can reduce time and space. That raises the level of intensity. Requires players to make quicker mental and physical reactions. So if you practice in that environment, you take away that time and space, you force them to make those decisions quicker. Come game time, they get a little more time and space. Hopefully they'll recognize those patterns. Hopefully they'll recognize those experiences that they've had to draw on, and they'll be able to make better decisions and make them quicker. Also in small area games, you have the opportunity to create and inspire creativity. It's not a predetermined outcome. We're not putting cones down or tires and saying skate around this with a predetermined outcome of what you want from the drill. Everything is unique, every experience is unique, so you're forcing them to make those decisions. The other byproduct of this with less time and space is the goalies end up seeing more shots. Requires more read and reaction from the goalies. And then the fun. I think the number one thing that we as coaches are responsible for is creating and increasing that love and passion of the game. Without love and passion of the game, when the player does get to be a little bit older, and now it's time to get really serious and compete at the highest level that they might be able to compete at, now they have to have that passion. They have to have that desire and that willingness to compete and put in the work that it takes. So different defensive concepts that can be taught. Forechecking, angling, body position, all these things. You guys can read those. We'll show some videos of these from NHL clips and then some practice clips. Offensive concepts that can be taught. All of these can be taught through small area games if you just give it a little bit of thought, and we're going to show that. So here's a video just to start this off by Mike Babcock. At least he was the head coach of the Detroit Red Wings when I left 2 days ago. I'm not sure if he's going to be the head coach of the Red Wings next year, but this video, I think, really puts it in perspective for us.
When you come to a team like the Detroit Red Wings, and when you arrive, Steve Yzerman's like that, or Nick Lidstrom's like that, or now when you arrive, Pavel Datsyuk is an absolute workaholic on and off the ice. It's not by accident that these guys are this good. It's because they work that hard. And when you watch Pav every day after practice, or before, and you watch how hard he works. It's not by accident he's as strong as he is and can play the way he is. And so to me, that's what separates. There's lots of nice players in the league, but they don't get to play long at the end of the year because it's not about being a nice player. It's about winning your battle every time you're on the ice. And there's no space and there's no room, and the ice gets worse as the year goes on. And so it's not about being pretty, and it's not about open ice or who looks good in practice with no pressure on them. It's who can make a play in a small area and win a battle. To me, that's the game.
So I thought that video really sums it up nicely. It's who can make a play in a small area. And the more I pay attention to the real games, whether it's World Championships, Stanley Cup Finals, Olympics, or anything like that, those are the players that do excel and succeed. There was a graphic that came out in the Hockey News a couple years ago when Stamkos led the league in scoring. All of the goals, almost 99% of his goals were scored between the face-off dots from the top of the circle down. So that's where the game is played now. So as I talked about yesterday, one of the presenters talked about you have to let those players figure it out on their own. You have to put them in the environment where they're going to get these experiences, not predetermined outcomes, but these experiences that will carry over and help them be successful in the games. So how many people play small area games in your practice right now? Okay. I think a lot of coaches, I think a lot of us do and incorporate small area games into our practice plans. But it's what we do with them. Why do we do them? So it's not just a game. We don't just, when I first started out using small area games in my practice, I would just do a game because I saw another coach run it and I stole it. I'd incorporate it into mine because I thought it looked fun, or I thought it might be helpful in teaching this concept. But we have to understand what our team needs, what do our players need, and why are we doing this and incorporating it in our practice. So different types of small area games are just, they're fun games that you might play just so the kids have fun or the players have fun. You might do a small area game as a warm-up. You might have something where you want to increase the competitive level or a battle drill. You might want to get more physically active into where they're really, there's a lot of physical contact in battles. Teaching a specific skill. Or you might want to teach specific team play and system, things like breakouts, forechecks, power play, penalty kill, those types of things. We're going to show you, I've got several videos. When they told me I was going to present, and then I got the agenda and it said I was presenting on Saturday morning, I've been to Prague before. I was a little concerned that there would be anybody here, so I thought we better do a lot of video, keep guys awake, something that's more interesting than just PowerPoint and me talking. So these are some NHL short clips, 15, 20 seconds or so. But this is the Anaheim Ducks with just a competitive one-on-one drill with two nets facing each other in the circle. You can run. So there's all kinds of things that you can teach, and one of the critical things from a coaching perspective when you're running the small area games is what do you want to teach in that game. You can run this game 100 times and teach and have different points of emphasis when you teach that game. You could talk about the D side of the puck. Okay, what do you want? You want heels to the net? You want to go stick on stick? You want to contain? Or do you want to talk about the offensive side of that drill? What are we teaching specifically? I like to take a drill or one of these games and really have a progression to it. So you might start out to where they're just getting comfortable with what the game is. And then the next time you play the game, you might focus on the defensive side and the defensive skills that are being taught or available to teach within the game. The next time you might talk about the offensive side. It's your team, your players. You know what they need. You know what the focus needs to be. This is a video from a series that we've just completed about a year ago. It's with our Ann Arbor program, our under 17. It's a competitive game, but you can see it's a small area, 2-on-2 goal line game. This has just one net. You can go ahead and roll the video, please. This has got some, you can see we take a marker and just draw a line down here, create the goal line. So what happens here, coach dumps a puck in, and then when you win the puck, you've got to take it below this imaginary goal line before you can try to score. So I'm embarrassed to say, but the reality is these kids aren't doing a great job with this game, honestly. They're a little bit lazy. You can see he's not moving his feet. He's gliding. Okay, how hard are they working? Now this, like I said, this is our under 17 national team in Ann Arbor. Okay, so imagine what your local club team and your players, those habits that they have. But I will say, the longer they played this game, the more familiar they became with it, but the better they got at it, and the intensity does rise. Okay? This is the Tampa Bay Lightning, and what I tried to do is use NHL clips of teams that are still playing, so you guys didn't say, oh, the teams that are out of the playoffs are doing these small area games. Why are we watching them? But so this is the Tampa Bay Lightning, and this is just a 2-on-2 with the net facing into the boards. And you can see it's a little bit different. It's similar to that first drill that you saw, but a little bit different. You can roll it. So if you want to work on body contact, you want to work on protecting the puck, some body checking, stick on stick, defending, proper D-side positioning. Really taking away a lot of time and space, though, that the players have to make a play. How many coaches use situations like this in their practices? Good. So those were competitive games, and maybe games that you could use to teach different skills or different habits. Here's some examples of maybe some team play stuff, some system stuff. And at the bottom, we're even talking about different concepts on this game: puck support, breakouts, regrouping, line rush, transition. You can teach all of those and make any of them the point of emphasis. I would warn against trying to do it all in one day's practice or one day's execution of the small game. But this one, the nets are just cross ice in the zone. And it's the breakout. All you have to do is the puck has to come behind the net before you can attack. And you just play straight up 3-on-3. These players have to learn to support, and you're just emphasizing a regroup and a breakout. Here's a video version of it.
The regroup game works on puck support, breakout, and regrouping tactics, along with forecheck and angling skills.
So here they've got an all-time defenseman behind the net.
Each team in the middle and one additional player from each team below his own defensive goal line. On change of possession, teams must pass to their extra player and then move to support the puck before they can attack. White moves quickly to support the breakout by filling 3 lanes and gains speed with a wing center exchange. Note the middle lane drive to the net. They continue to control the puck through cutbacks, puck support, and hard work. Good off-the-puck scissor movement helps create space for the puck carrier. Since blue has good defensive side position, white decides to spread out the defense by using their extra player. All 3 players move back to support the puck, creating options and speed. Blue is now in an F1 forecheck situation and should use skating skills, body and stick position from the middle of the ice to angle and eliminate the puck carrier. However, blue decides to take a straight line to the puck and gets beat. Blue now fills all 3 lanes with good puck support low, allowing for an easy breakout. Through good angling and stick-on puck play, white causes a turnover. Here, white does a good job of protecting the puck in a defensive zone scrum and finding their open man when the play develops.
This is a situation net front play. And so this is essentially this is like real hockey nowadays, right? The goalie, 9 times out of 10, really struggles to see the puck or see the shot. Offensively, we're trying to take the goalie's eyes away, create a lot of havoc in front. Maybe the puck will hit something on a shot and have a chance to be redirected into the net. But this is, you can see all this traffic here in the shooting lane. So how do we replicate that in practice? Here's a clip from an NHL game. Go ahead. It's Vancouver Canucks and Calgary Flames. Notice the front of the net.
Yeah, and it's a Burrows-type goal. The deflection right there, he reaches past the Flame defender and gets that through Hiller, and the Vancouver Canucks have a 1-0 lead.
So how do you replicate that in practice? This is a game that the players really like. I don't care if they're 10 years old or 20 years old. To me, this is one of the games that the players really seem to raise their intensity, and the pace and the speed and the competitiveness really comes out. But it's teaching, what it's teaching here is, so the red team is trying to score on this net. When the red players win the puck, they must pass back to these stationary guys here along the boards that are acting as defensemen. So you put a rule in that says when you come here, you have to go D to D, but these guys can't skate in. They can't leave their little zone there. These guys are supposed to try to get to the front of the net, create traffic in front for an opportunity for a tip or a screen. Now, if the green team wins the puck, they've got to come back across the rink to their guys. They have to go D to D. They can go D to D as many times as they want, buy some time until their forwards can get over here. So you're working on the offensive side, you're working on getting traffic in front of the net, sticks, rebounds, taking the goalie's eyes away. On the defensive side, you're trying to either block out those guys. The defensive guys cannot go to the shooters, though. Okay? So again, here's what we're working on: net front defending, defensive zone play. All these things can be taught within this one game. Here's a little animated piece that kind of shows it in animation, and then we'll show it in a video clip. No, there we go. So coach just dumps a puck in, got to go back D to D. Okay, so here's how it looks. This is our under 18 national camp last summer. Here's how it looks in practice, and this is the first time these kids have ever done this game. So they do an okay job. Obviously not perfect habits. I'd rather see the D-man not take a slap shot from there, but there's something quicker, get the puck to the net quicker. But a lot of teaching opportunities within these games. I think one of the challenges as a coach is to not over-teach and try to correct every single thing, every mistake that you make. You have to let them learn. You have to let them fail a little bit so that they can learn from the game. Let the game be the teacher. You might talk about that with guys that are standing in line waiting to go next. You might give them some ideas, but don't try to correct everything the first time you run the game. Here's a progression. It's 3 progressions to this game. You can go ahead and roll it. So we start out with just one net here, and it's 2-on-2, plus each team has a defender up here. So it's the white team versus the black team. White team, when they win the puck, they've got to come up to their white defenseman. He can't go below the top of the circles. They get the puck, they have to go. Now this is just our local club team, and very mediocre. These are 16-year-olds, but just a normal team. So this guy got lazy, he left his guy in front of the net. So the next progression is you have 2 nets, same thing. The white team's trying to score on this goal, black team's trying to score on the other goal. So the white team gets the puck, and they've got to come back to the defenseman here. I like this game actually better than the first one because the defensemen have to move. They can't just hang out in front of the one net. They've got to move from side to side. White's not supposed to come out here. You can see how lazy he got, though. And it really exposes those lazy players. It exposes those players that compete and work hard. And I'm a big believer that in every one of these games that you play, you have to keep score. Keep score, have consequences, winners and losers. That'll raise that intensity, and that'll provide some incentive for them, additional incentive. This part of the progression is we've got this group of cones down the middle here, and so it's half of the zone. Still 2-on-2, still got the 2 D-men up at the top, but it's going on at both sides of the rink right now. So more kids involved. Offensive and defensive net front play. Okay? Here's the Buffalo Sabres. I don't know if you heard, they're not in the playoffs. And this clip kind of shows you maybe just one of the reasons why. But I think it's important to show the younger players maybe some examples from the older teams. And I think as a coach, we have to pay attention to when we see professional players that are making millions of dollars make these kinds of mistakes. We can't get too upset with our 16 and 14 and 12-year-olds because it happens. It's a reality. Okay, you can go ahead and roll it. So this is 4-on-4 right now, but you can see he doesn't drop in, he doesn't drop in. Can you play that one more time, please? Watch how lazy these two guys are. This guy's, he's not in any hurry. It's an NHL hockey game. Okay? So, we don't want our players to do that, right? They haven't been very lucky. They lost the McDavid lottery also. Here's a little game. So, cone, you make a box out of these cones. It's 3-on-3, net front. Whoever wins the puck passes to the coach on the side. So offensively, we're working on getting open, getting your stick open, become available for a pass, a scoring opportunity. Away from the puck, we're trying to either get open, cause havoc in front of the net, take the goalie's eyes away. Defensively, you're trying to keep good defensive side positioning, trying to get under the other guy's stick. Some guys do a better job than others, obviously. This guy's locked and loaded. He's ready to shoot. This guy's not working real hard. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? Where is he? But this really reveals the work ethic of your players, and there's no hiding. I like to take my iPad on the ice when we do these games, shoot the video, and then when the players rotate out, I just go over to a player and hold up the video. Like, look, here's what we're seeing as coaches. I don't know what you think you're doing out there from a defensive side, but you can be better than that. You can be better than that. Offensively, you might suggest some solutions for them on the offensive side. So, special teams play here. Let's see. What do we got for time? So normally we do a little exercise where you take a few minutes, draw up a possible special teams small area game to work on penalty killing or power play. So what could you do to work on that and keep everybody engaged? Here's from last August, our under 18 team that played in the IIHF. What's going on here is you've got two different sides, similar to that 2-on-2 game, but what we're playing here, you got a net here and a net over on this side. You've got 4 blue over here against 2 white. So the 4 blue are working on a power play. It's an odd man situation. If the white wins the puck, then they pass to their teammates on this side that are 4 against 2 on this side of the rink. You can go ahead and roll it. Where's Martin? Recognize the rink? Okay, so you can see what was going on there. Next, special teams working on power play and penalty kill. What's going on here is you've got the X's over here. They've got their defensemen back here. The nets are in the top of the slot at each end, and you're playing 5-on-4, okay? When the X's get the puck, they've got to come back to this guy. The O's then change, 4 more penalty killers come on. So it's alternating, it flows back and forth, power play versus penalty kill. As soon as the team with 5 players, they come down here and try to score. If they lose possession of the puck, then one of these guys will jump out, the X's will go off. You'll see how that plays here. So they go behind the net, they win possession of the puck, go behind the net, the other team goes off, the white team's now on the power play. The black team comes on the penalty kill. So white scores, they get the puck back from a coach. Now they're just trying to find time and space, find openings, find an open man, a lot of movement. Trying to get traffic in front. So white loses possession, they have to change. Black is now back on the power play. So it's just a constant flowing 5-on-4 alternating. And really what you're doing here is you're not emphasizing any stagnant positioning or predetermined puck rotation at all. You're trying to encourage creativity, learning habits and concepts of how to get open, how to move the puck, how to get to the puck to the net. Okay. Some people say, okay, so how do you incorporate this into your practices? This is just a practice plan example, and I apologize because it's hard to put a practice plan on a slide and make any sense of it at all. But all I wanted to demonstrate here is the way we do our practices is have about 5 minutes of time, and this is only a 60-minute practice. Okay, so these guys were 14 years old. 5 minutes of free play, but then we play a forechecking game at both ends. We would do this at both ends. So a lot of activity, do that for about 10 minutes. Then we do 3 stations of skill work. You can see here, we've got a skating zone, we've got a passing, receiving, and an underhandling zone. Then down here, we've got a tight area 2-on-2 game that we do. We've got a ringette battle, so a lot of working on body checking, body contact, and then we wrap up practice, we end practice. It's another thing I learned from Lou Vero is end practice on a high note. I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, my coaches, the last 15 minutes of practice, what'd we do? Conditioning, right? Line up on the goal line, skate the lines, 4 corners, skate, 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 just no pucks, take the fun out of it. This right here is hidden conditioning. Okay, a lot of activity, but a lot of battle. And you just tell your players, hey, as long as you're willing to work hard in your games, that's where we're going to get our conditioning. Okay? So the key here is that we're trying to make practice resemble the game, and so that transfers to real game-like situations. So that's our goal. So implementation, the real deal is there's no perfect game, there's no perfect format, there's no perfect scenario. It's what does your team need? You're the leader of your team. What does your team need? What do your players need? Be creative. Think outside the box. There's tons of resources. You watch other practices, other coaches. With the internet now and YouTube, there's tons of stuff online that you can steal. But make it yours. Make it your team. Make it applicable to your players. When do you play these games and what you're doing? Do you play it at the beginning of practice, sometime in the middle of practice? What area of the rink? These are all things to consider and think. And the other thing, and I know in our country, a lot of coaches will say they do small area games, and they do like 1 3-on-3 cross-ice game all the time. There's not really a purpose or an intent to it. So you can teach through the game, remember that. I think the hardest part of this whole thing is allowing your players to fail. Don't overcoach. Allow your players to fail. Let them learn from that. You have to be patient. It's something we're really challenged with, I think, is being patient and let your players figure things out without, I think sometimes as coaches we're type A personalities and we really want to give all the answers. We want to correct everything. It's like the teacher in school with the red pen. You want to correct every single mistake. But I think in reality with our young players, they're making mistakes all the time. But that's normal. That's not uncommon. Mix it up. Don't always do it at the same time. Don't always do the same games. Design your games around your team's needs, like I said, and it be more fun and competitive. The last 2 things before I conclude here is these are two books that we've done recently. The one on the left was the original book, and it comes with a CD with those animations that I saw. You can download these 2 books for free at usahockey.com if you're interested. To me, they're great resources because it makes me think. If I'm in the middle of the season, I'm saying, hey, I've got to come up with a new plan or a new drill or game for my kids. What can I come up with? And then the one on the right, teaching concepts through small area games, that's more about team play and systems and for different age groups. So those are available, like I said, for free. And I know there's a lot of other things on the internet that you can find as well. So those are just two of the resources. I want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you guys. Very humbling to be in this room with coaches, a lot of familiar faces. So thank you for your time.